I've got another editing tutorial for you. This is how I took this beautiful bearded man and turned him into this epic, beautiful bearded man. Let's get into it. We're going to just get right into this, and what I want to do is I want to show you how I edited this photo that you're seeing on the left and turned it into the photo that you're seeing on the right. Pretty easy, a lot of color grading, a little bit of texture add, but overall it's fairly simple. I think you can follow along. Now with all of my videos, these are just to show you an example of what you can do. I will leave a low resolution version of this photo down in the description. If you want to try to follow along, you can go ahead. Now remember, it's low resolution, so it might degrade the photo quality, but I'll go ahead and leave it in there. You can go ahead and download it. Follow along with me if you want, but let's get into it. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and take this photo right here, and we're going to go ahead and work on it. Now, this is fairly simple and easy to do. Let me just go ahead and reset it so you can see what's going on here. The only thing that I did is I turned the shadows up. We're going to go ahead and do that again. We're going to turn those shadows all the way up, and that's just going to bring a little bit of color into it. We are in Lightroom Classic, but we're going to go directly into Photoshop right now. So let's go ahead and right click, edit in, and we're going to go Photoshop. Okay, so now we are right here in Photoshop. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so it's not just killing my my computer while we're editing here. There we go. Let's get this there. All right, so there's a couple things we need to do to this, and the first one is actually getting rid of this backpack and light stand over here in the corner. We're going to go ahead and make a new layer because I always like to keep that original layer there. It's just kind of my editing tactic. What we're going to do is we're just going to use this lasso off this area here. And we'll use generative fill to remove this. So we'll just go ahead and remove. Hit that generate button, let it do its thing. While I have you here, though, if you do like this video and you like these editing style videos like this, please remember to hit that subscribe, the thumbs up, the comment. Let me know your favorite photography style down in the comments down below. So there we go. We got rid of it. Let's go through the options, see which one we like. I actually think I like number 2 the best. Now, I want to also go ahead and get rid of this white line, or this bright line, I should say, right here. So we'll do the same thing, although I'm just going to leave it empty and just let it do its work here. It should be able to handle it. There we go. We got rid of it. We had to choose that second selection. First 2 selections I wasn't a fan of. And there we go. Now we're working with something a little more natural looking. So let's go ahead and let's combine all this. We're going to go Command Option Shift E. And what that's going to do is it's going to take all of these layers and flatten them onto a new layer, because what I need to do is I need to go in here and I want to fix this brick right here. This is all your fine-tuning stuff now. That's what we're doing. So get rid of that. And then we're going to go ahead and get rid of this. Now, from working with this photo, I know that there is some letters scratched into the wall right here that I want to get rid of. And then we need to get rid of Steven's keychain here. There we go. Everything else looks good. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to go in here and we need to widen this photo. So we will go ahead and let's go ahead with this right side. Make sure you're in generative expand. And we're going to widen this photo. We're going to put him on this third here. Go there. And then we'll bring this one out. So we're going to put his nose right on this left third. Now this might not be exact printing ratio, but we will go ahead and if we need to fix that later, we can. We'll just go ahead right about there. That looks good as far as the crop. We'll go ahead and enter. Let generative fill do its thing, and it will fill all of this in. All the white that you see, it'll automatically kind of fill it in. We'll have to choose which one we want to use. Now, I think it did a pretty good job on the first go. Third one looks the most natural as far as the wall. First one looks okay. It does swoop down here just a little bit, and then this one actually swoops up. The third one looks pretty good. We'll leave it right about there. So now this photo, I mean, we could leave it like this. We've now taken this vertical photo that we had here, this portrait orientation photo, and we've turned it into a landscape. But let's go ahead a little bit further here. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to add a texture to this concrete wall. I feel like this concrete wall is just a little too clean for me. I'm going to add a texture. Now, you can get a texture wherever you get your textures, wherever you get them from, whether it's Adobe stock or if it's Envato Elements or wherever you get your stuff from, you can go ahead and find a texture. If you need to Google it and find one, I'm not going to tell you to do that, but Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this texture on here. Now I want to rotate it. And we're going to make it really big. There we go. We'll pull it over here because we just want it on this wall part here. Go ahead and hit OK. Now we'll go down here and we will change the overlay to color dodge. Now, as you can see, it's on the whole photo right now. We don't want that. So what we need to do is we need to go in here to this layer right here. And we're going to go ahead and hit select subject. It's going to find our subject here. It did a pretty good job. It did miss a little bit of his foot here. So let's go ahead and add in this foot. It's the only thing that I saw that it missed. And then we'll just go ahead and go up to this layer and we'll mask it out. We do need to mask it from other areas too. Like we need to come in here. And the way that we can do it the best way is make sure we're on our mask here. Get our brush a little bit bigger here. Go all the way up with it. Make it a harder brush. And then we'll just start coloring out where we don't want that. Which is all of this over here. We don't want that over here. And we don't want it here. And then we don't want it on the ground here. So we're going to fine tune this here in a second. But let's just kind of get it to where we need it to be. All right, along that edge right there. Okay, so we need to blend this a little bit more. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my black brush. Now I'm going to make it very soft. So take the hardness all the way down. And we're going to take the flow down to like 20%. Make this brush a little bigger. And this is where we're going to kind of blend the two together. So let's go ahead and find that soft spot there. And there we go. So now you can see it's just on the wall. It's still way too bright. So let's go ahead, and the last thing we're going to do is click and make sure we're on the actual image and not the mask. We're just going to bring the opacity down. There we go. So now we have a wall that has texture to it. Now we could go in here and we could go ahead and add an adjustment to it and change our curves. Now if we're going to just affect this grunge wall, you need to hit this little square with the down arrow. And then we'll go ahead and fix this wall a little bit more. So we want to go that way with it. There we go. Because we don't want it to be like super like the most important thing in the photo. Bam. There we go. Now we got a grungy wall that looks more natural. So from here now, what we need to do is we need to add that color overlay. Now check this out. I know all of you have heard me talk and praise Glenduis's lookup tables about using them to get the colorization that you need on a photo. Now check this out. You're the first people to hear this. You can go over to his website, glenduis.com now, go to the store, and you can use the code JOSH10, Josh10, and get 10% off anything on his store, whether it be lessons, tutorials, anything that he has, including the lookup tables. I am so happy to have this partnership and be working with my friend Glenn and getting his name out there and getting his artwork out there to more people and to be able to use it. Now that's what we're going to do is we're going to use those color lookups on this photo. So let's get back into it. That was my little, I guess you'd call sponsored section of the post or of the video. So let's get into it. So what we're going to need to do now is we're going to need to go back over here to adjustments. If adjustments isn't on here, you can go up here and go window, click adjustments, and it should pop up over here. Otherwise, it'll pop up somewhere on your screen. We're going to go down here. We're going to go to color lookup. This is where we're going to add that color lookup. Now, once you download them, you install them, get them all good to go. They'll be on here. I'm using a quick version, so I actually have to go and search for them. Yours should pop up in this pop-up screen when you go ahead and do that. And we'll go ahead. We will add Home Guard. This is my favorite one. Look at that. Oh, I just love the look of that. Let's go ahead. Let's add another one, though. We're going to go and we're going to load. And we'll go down here, and I think it's Nathan. Boom. This is what I want it to look like. This is amazing, but it's too much. We need to draw it back a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take both of these, grab this little cheeseburger stack here and go new group from layers and go color. Now from that, we're going to go back down here again. We're going to select subject. Did a good job once again. It missed his foot once again, so we need to add that foot in there. And make sure we get, whoops, this out of there. And what we're going to do then is we're going to go ahead, go back to our color here, hold in Option or Alt if you're on a Windows computer, and click. Now we have a mask. But now he's standing out way too much from that color, so what we need to do is we need to go here to Properties, Density, and turn that density down so we start matching. Now, what the density is basically, think of it as the strength of the mask. So if I were to take it all the way down to 0, it wouldn't work at all. All the way up is a full mask. So we need to find that soft spot here in the middle where he doesn't look like he's standing out too much. Oh, man, that looks incredible. I do want to turn one of these down just a little bit, though. This one. So let's just go ahead. We'll turn it down by just selecting it and clicking the opacity on it. And we'll get that right about there. Now, what you can see is this is our non-colored version, and then this is our lookup. Man, it looks so good. So what we can do now is we can save this and go back to Lightroom and finish it up because it's looking pretty good, and I think we're done in Photoshop. So let's go ahead and hit Control or Command S, let it save. Then we'll go over to Lightroom and finish this up. Okay, so we are back in Lightroom now. I need to turn everything up just a little bit. It's a little on the dark side. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start with shadows, just like everything that I edit. I bring the shadows up first. We're gonna go ahead and bring the exposure up just a little bit. And let's compensate that by bringing the contrast up too. There we go. Now we're in a good spot here. I wanna go ahead and go down here to the vibrance and turn that vibrance up. Let's get those colors popping just a little bit more. Now we're talking. Now this is looking good. What I need to do is I need to turn his skin up just a little bit, though. It's a little on the dark side. So we're going to go mask, and we're going to select our subject. Okay, so we got our mask on our person. We're just going to turn that up just a little bit. And then we will counter it with the contrast just a little. So this right here is what came back from Photoshop, and now those simple little tweaks in Lightroom has turned it into this. From here we need to go down and do a little bit more Josh Russell coloring to it, and we will go down to right here, the color grading. Now what I want to do is I want to add just a little bit of orange and teal look to it. It's that Josh Russell look. Go ahead and grab our midtones, bring that up towards the warmth just a little, and then we'll go ahead and grab our shadows. Bring those over to the turquoise side. And the same thing with the highlights over to the turquoise side. This is a fire photo. I noticed that I need to straighten this horizon so my friends don't make fun of me. Look at this. Look at this photo. One more thing that I want to do to it, and that is that radial pop plus radial gradient. Add this gradient here, but inverse it. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And then we will go ahead and turn the exposure down just a little, just to add that look to it. Look at this bad boy right here. I know what we can do is we can actually, let's add one more mask, a linear, over on this side. Let's bring it over to about right there. Let's minus our subject. And let's turn that down a little bit too, just so that's not so bright. Look at here's what came back from Photoshop. Here's where we're at now. And I'd say this photo is a banger and done. I'm very, very pleased with this one. As always, if this helped you, please make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it, and download the low resolution version of the image. Try this out for yourself and have some fun. So there you have it. That's how it's done. That's how the photo was created. And if it helped and you liked it, maybe you could consider watching this editing video because I think this one will help you too. I'll talk to you later. Deuces.